Look at the scale of this infrastructure. This is Ephesus, a Mediterranean superpower that turned human superstition into a high-margin municipal commodity. The city's economy rested on a massive manufacturing and tourism industry. Thousands of pilgrims traveled here to buy sacrifices and silver souvenirs dedicated to the goddess Diana, funding the city's grandeur with every purchase. Parallel to the temple trade was a lucrative market for curious arts. This sector dealt in commercialized magic, physical spellbooks, and a rotating cast of professional exorcists who charged for their services. This commercial foundation met its match when the Apostle Paul arrived. He introduced a message that removed the need for middlemen, idols, and paid incantations. In Ephesus, telling the public they no longer needed to buy their way into divine favor was a direct threat to the local economy. Challenging the gods meant challenging the city's payroll. We need to look at how a single speaker, using only a lecture hall and a new set of ideas, managed to crash these foundational industries in just 2 years. When traditional spaces closed to him, Paul moved his base of operations to a secular location, the School of Tyrannus. He didn't just visit, he stayed. For 2 years, he held daily public discussions in this hall, turning it into a permanent intellectual hub. Because of the city's position as a trade hub, these ideas radiated outward. Visitors carried the message from the lecture hall back to their own towns across the entire province of Asia. This campaign was reinforced by observable healings and exorcisms that worked. This created a sharp contrast with the local magic peddlers, whose services were both expensive and, as it turned out, unreliable. This prolonged ground game did more than win converts. It established a regional network of people who were now ready to withdraw their financial support from the old pagan system. The collision between authentic power and commercialized religion came to a head through the 7 sons of Sceva. These local exorcists tried to monetize the name of Jesus by using it as a new magical formula. The attempt failed spectacularly. A possessed man violently overpowered all 7 brothers, stripping them and driving them from the house in a chaotic retreat. When the story of this failure went viral, it shattered the credibility of the Ephesian magic industry. The commercial spells everyone had been paying for were suddenly exposed as useless. The new believers responded with a massive economic divestment. They gathered their expensive, guarded spellbooks and piled them in the street for a public burning. The value of the scrolls destroyed that day totaled 50,000 pieces of silver. This chart compares that figure to a standard ancient daily wage. In today's terms, we are looking at roughly 137 years' worth of average salary going up in smoke. Believers had physically removed millions of dollars from the city's circulation, bankrupting the occult industry in a single afternoon. This financial collapse soon hit the idol manufacturers. Demetrius, a prominent silversmith, saw his market for silver shrines beginning to vanish. Demetrius realized that if people believed Paul's claim that man-made objects aren't gods, his entire industry would be set at naught. His profit margins were disappearing. He unionized the craftsmen and incited a massive riot. Thousands packed into this theater, shouting the same slogan for 2 hours straight. The cry, "Great is Diana of the Ephesians," echoed through the city, a desperate, vocal defense of a dying corporate monopoly. The riot ended when the town clerk pointed out that Paul hadn't technically broken any laws. He had simply spoken, and the people had listened. The mob dispersed, but the economic damage was permanent. The silver trade and the occult markets never regained their former dominance over the city's ledger. The events in Ephesus show the tangible cost of changing convictions. As the citizens withdrew their faith in the old gods, they simultaneously withdrew the capital that sustained the city's status quo.